Okay, so that set out some of the new steps that you will need to follow if you're going to trade with the EU. But there's some basic things you will need to do first before you can start. So we're going to look at those now. Before you do anything, you're going to need an EORI number, an Economic Operator Reference Identification number. I'm going to talk you through what you need this for. There's some links on this slide that will show you how to get one if you need it. You can apply online and it's free. Businesses exporting goods from or importing goods into the UK need a UK EORI number. A UK EORI number starts with GB followed by 12 digits. If you're VAT registered, this will include your VAT registration number. So I said you can register for this online and you need one to do all of the following: to lodge a customs declaration, to submit an entry summary declaration, to lodge an exit summary declaration or a temporary storage declaration in order to act as a carrier for the purposes of transport, or to act as a carrier connected to the customs system who wishes to receive notifications regarding the lodging or amendment of entry summary declarations. And for the EU, an EU EORI is required to submit declarations on the continent. The business you're trading with in the EU will normally be responsible for submitting the declaration to EU customs, and so will need an EU EORI number if they don't want to have one already. If you've got regular customers, you might want to check with them, especially if they normally only deal with EU-based companies. However, if you're going to be responsible for submitting declarations on both sides of the border, you're going to need both a UK and an EU EORI number. Like a UK number, you can get an EU EORI number online. Now, a person or business needs to be established in the UK or EU in order to meet certain customs rules. So this includes being able to apply for various authorisations and simplifications. So, for example, special procedures, AEO authorisation, or being able to make simplified declarations. In the UK, you might need to produce the following types of information. So a certificate of registration, details of where you employ staff and what they do, the premises that you own or operate from, details of any contracts, orders, etc. that are held or issued by the business, and proof that the business has its own accounts. EU establishment means it must be registered in the EU and involved in the operation. So that could be a freight forwarder or a carrier. They must have an EU VAT number. And it's worth noting that a UK business will need an EU VAT registered company to act as an EU exporter or as a representative. I've added a link on this slide that gives further details on being UK established. Now, as I've said, the UK has secured a zero tariff, zero quota free trade agreement with the EU. However, there are rules of origin within that free trade agreement that need to be met, and you will want to familiarise yourself with these if you're moving goods with components that are not exclusively GB or EU sourced. Customs controls will still apply. It's also really important to agree at the outset who is going to be responsible for customs and other requirements at the various stages of the process. Now, there's an international set of trading terms called Incoterms often used to agree this, and I've added a link to an excellent website on this slide that can take you through to this if you're not familiar with them. There's a few other things that you need to think about as well. Depending on what you're moving, this might be relevant to you. So, for example, are you buying or selling controlled goods? So is it an excise item like tobacco or alcohol? Is it an endangered species, for example, something covered by the CITES Convention? We've added a full list of controlled goods in Annex C of the Border Operating Model. If you're dealing in these, you may well need to comply with certain other controls and checks. If you're moving products of animal origin or animal byproducts, then you will need to obtain an export health certificate before you do so. The European Union are taking this requirement seriously. Your export health certificate is required and it must be properly and fully completed. I've added a link on this slide on how to get an export health certificate. If you're not using an intermediary, you might need to pre-register with certain EU systems. So if you're dealing in chemicals, you might need to register with a REACH. If you're moving foodstuffs, with Traces, before you can start selling. If you're bringing in live animals, animal products and some high-risk food and feeds not of animal origin into Great Britain, you might need to register with IPAFFS. You should note that in some circumstances, if you're selling certain food products, for example, to the EU, your premises might require authorization from the EU before you can export. And I've added a link to further information. You should also note that food products being sold now the UK has exited the transition period will have to be labelled correctly. And we've added full guidance on what can be expected. It's very complex, as you can see. And given the complexities of importing and exporting, you might want to think about hiring a person or a business to deal with customs for you. So, for example, a freight forwarder, an agent or broker, or a fast parcel operator. The decision on this has to be one that's right for your business. And so we produced a short film which will help you decide whether or not it is right for you. And if it is, we've provided a full list of customs agents and fast parcel operators on gov.uk, and the link is given on this slide. You also might want to look at setting up a duty deferment account if you're setting into the UK. And that will allow you to defer payments of certain duties until a later date. And again, we've provided guidance on whether this is right for you or not on gov.uk at the link on this slide. We can also help you speak to an expert. BEIS, the business department, runs a number of business support lines. Now, the one you need to call will depend on where you're based, because there's a different one based in each of the constituent countries of the United Kingdom, and the numbers are given on this slide. It's worth noting that HMRC also operates some helplines. So there is an import-export general inquiries number, which I've given on this slide. You can talk to an advisor online through a web chat about general import and export queries, or you can use a contact form to send a question about imports, exports and customs release. If you've got a question about vehicle operator licensing, the DVSA number is given here. And if it's about driving licenses, we've given the number for DVLA. The government is also operating 2 online forums where businesses and traders can access key information and can ask questions directly to government policy officials. HMRC operate their community forum for customs and tax related queries at the link on this slide. And my team in the Border and Protocol Delivery Group runs the Transition Forum website for any non-customs and tax related queries. We've also added a lengthy set of FAQs on these forums, so there's a really good chance your question's been asked already. So please do take a look at the FAQs. You may well find the answer is there already. If it's not, please do take the opportunity to ask a question and we will provide the answer to you.